Pod Hunter is huge right now, probably because everyone wants to try a fresh returning deck for the first time in a while. Yes, Bag, we will talk about that.
Can confirm.
Or not. Bag from the top run.
Not to say it's a bad deck. Agreed. I don't think
No,
it's a
it's not.
bad one. I don't think it's the best one. But I think it's fun and novel. And that's enough to get me to play it. I've been playing that.
Time's up. Let's do this.
We're in for a wild night.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 282 of Born to Be Wild, a wild Hearthstone podcast where we have fun, hanging out with friends, talking about the wild formats of Hearthstone, and spotlighting members of the wild community. I am your host, ElectricSheepCity. It's great to be back this wonderful Friday evening here in Kickin' Rad, Colorado. I am joined by a fellow host, Schmoopiedaddy.
CATACLYSM!
For those of you joining us for the first time, welcome aboard. We record this podcast live every Friday evening at twitch.tv/borntobewildhs, and the video version of this podcast is posted to YouTube shortly thereafter. Audio versions are also distributed to all of the podcast apps. However you are watching, listening, or absorbing via osmosis this podcast today, thank you. Yes, you.
Content plug. Schmoopiedaddy. Before we get into the main topic of the show tonight, I'd like to say a quick thank you to the patrons of our show. Your support means the world to us. If you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, and comment on this video on YouTube. Another simple way to support the show is leave a review on your podcast platform of choice. If you're watching live on Twitch, we've got some awesome emotes that you can unlock by subscribing to the channel. This is free if you use Amazon Prime. Finally, if you'd like to support the show financially, you can join our Patreon for as little as $1 per month. We have some channels in the Discord that are unlocked by subscribing to the Patreon, where you can see the show coming together each week. Check it out. If you'd like to interact with us personally, please join our Discord, a free and amazing online community of friends from all across the world who love talking about wild Hearthstone. Links to all of this stuff and more, including our merch, can be found on our website, which is www.borntobewildhs.com. Sheep, how's your week?
My week was pretty good. So our video enjoyers will notice that things are looking a little cataclysmic up in here. So we've got a new background rather than kind of like overlay. And Ulticon made our names like all animated in fire and such.
Looks very nice.
So those are all like custom made by Ulticon. So huge thank you to Ulti. You want to poke them?
I shouldn't touch them, right?
Probably not.
They are
but
on
like,
fire.
I mean,
What a friend.
maybe a little spicy, but I don't know. Worth a shot. Oh.
Duh.
Ooh. Is it warm?
It's a little spicy. My bad.
Yeah. Also got a care package, a CATACLYSMIC care package from Blizzard. So I'm not wearing my hoodie right now because it is like 80 something. Like we have the AC on, but oh my gosh. As soon as it's cool enough again.
Oh yeah, it's very
comfy.
It's very, very comfy.
It looks like all warm and you know, it feels like all thick and such too.
It's cozy.
Mm-hmm.
I have to check to see what size it is, because it might be like one size slightly too small for me, but I'm just gonna house it. I'm pretend it's not. I'm gonna just hope it doesn't shrink in the wash or something like that, and I have to give it to Schmoopy. That'd be tragic.
Yeah, mine fit a little like snugger around the middle, which I liked because typically like I tend to get long sleeve things like a little. I get a large because like I've got long arms, but I don't fill out the middle quite so much. So this one doesn't feel like I'm kind of swimming in it, which, you know,
Yeah, it's more
is
fitted.
different.
Yeah, makes sense.
And, yeah. Yeah, fitted. That's a good word for it. Thank you. So absolutely love everything in there. So got that, got the whatchamacallit, I'm gonna frame the Ragnaros print. Like, oh my gosh, that thing is
Very
sick.
cool. Very cool.
So cool.
I opened that on stream, and I had trouble with the container it was in. I popped out one side, and it was like on the complete opposite side of the rolly roll. So I had to pop off the other side as well, and that was not coming very easily. So, like, you know, you got to watch a wild player struggle with basic mechanical functions, which is like usually just like a typical stream, but like that's, yeah, I don't know if you remember any trouble with that.
These were different mechanical
this
functions
is quite
that you got to troubleshoot.
Yeah.
And the water bottle is incredible. Mine's downstairs. I still need to wash that one. So I have my other water right now. But yeah, Schmoopy is showing it off. Thank you.
What's fun is I think it's like about half the size of the normal water bottle that I would drink. However, I always run out of water when I'm streaming or doing the podcast. So having an additional auxiliary water bottle so that I have brought up 2 with me might actually end it. We'll see. That might be the new meta.
Yeah. I usually have 3 water bottles. But, you know, I live at elevations and I keep well hydrated. I don't go through all of them during the recording, but sometimes I go through more than one.
Makes sense.
So, all to say, I agree with this meta breaker. Hydration is kicking rad. Well, got another gift from Blizzard, which was also incredible. This one came today. I've started because got it like the code for the Pokies for the Deathwing, and all of those like signatures and things like that. So like got the Ragnaros and
nice.
Oh my gosh. That's the deck I've been playing the most anyway. Like a Dragon Herald warrior.
Yeah. Nice.
Because like the big thing and we'll get to it, but like the big thing is Imbue Druid, and I've played a lot of Imbue Druid, and I played a little bit more of Imbue Druid, but like I want to play more new things. So I've been playing more new things, and both standard and wild. So in wild, I've been playing a deck we will talk about, Odd Hunter. That's been a blast, and even Death Knight. We won't talk about that one later because that's sheep kind of playing around.
Well, you got a fun tool.
Like,
you got the 2-mana weapon. That one's pretty kicking around for that list.
And I got I've got a couple different builds of it going on too. Like there's one that's a lot more tokeny, and so I run that one is rainbow, so I can run I think it's Eliza, the 4-mana 4/3 with Death Rattle, all of your minions +1 attack.
Yes.
So I get to run the new, and this is not a good card. I'm running it because I want to, but the new 2-mana 3/1 with a Death Rattle, gain a 2-mana. I can't remember what it's called, but it's an attack spell or a damage spell that has as much attack as this. So I'm running a lot of that one is also hand buffy, and it's not good, but it's fun, which is why I'm playing it, The better one is more aggressive, so I'm not running that the 2-mana card and the dragon, the 3/1 Death Rattle. And that one's triple unholy, so I can run like grave strength and all that kind of jazz. And I had one more. I'm trying to recall what it was. It was a little bit more like use all of the corpses thing, and that one's also rainbow, so that I can run CNE, climactic necrotic explosion, and I've never gotten to cast it, but I drew it once, and I slowly watched it grow and was like, oh, and that was fun. So
Are you running Corpsicles again even? Now that they're reverted back to 2?
Yes.
Nice.
Oh, yes. And that's why both of the others are rainbow. I mean, obviously the one with CNE is rainbow because it has to be. But that's why the more hand buffy one is rainbow as well, so that I can run Corpsicle. Like, Corpsicle is, now that it's like 2 mana again, it's absolutely core to the archetype, unless we're running like Grave Strength. Even then, I think Corpsicle might be better. So, you got to make choices sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
Dark Knight. So, what can you do?
Yeah.
So, I've been playing a ton of Hearthstone. My birthday's coming up on Sunday, so like, I know that the Schmoopie for my birthday, I've brought a Cataclysm for us all.
Doesn't shock me.
I'm glad that, just like a Hobbit, I get to share my birthday presents with more folks. I wish that I could share these goodies with you at home as well, but alas. Schmoopie, how's your week been, friend?
Well, actually, because of oversharing, I wasn't around last week. I got COVID, which was incredible, given that I knew I felt myself getting sick. My daughter had already tested positive for flu B. So she was like she was sort of in and out of like looking like she could return to school. So like we had like a whole week where we kept her home. And then, she was sick, and I'm like, all right, I guess like I got the same thing, so I might as well go to the doctor and get a doctor's note just in case I have to miss more time or they give me a hard time about it. And so, and I went to the doctor and they swabbed and said, all right, bad news or good news. You don't have the flu. I'm like, all right, that's pretty cool. They're like, bad news. It's COVID. I'm like, oh, they're like, yeah. You got 2 viruses running around your house. Unlucky. Hope you feel better soon.
Oh, no.
And so I basically
issue.
I basically went home that Friday and passed out for 12 hours. Like you guys did the pod. I was like, all right, guys, I don't think I'm making it. I got COVID. I will catch you guys later. And poof, I was down.
Understandably.
You're right. I woke up. I think the worst part, honestly, was I never had a cough. I never had a cough. I was never displaying classic COVID symptoms. I woke up in the middle of the night with like my brain on fire. And then I went back to sleep and I woke up again. I went to bed basically to 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. And I felt okay, but I still felt like a little low energy. And they said like you were good. You didn't have to isolate anymore. You were probably not spreading sickness anymore when you were no longer like exhibiting symptoms. So like once your energy was back, once I felt more normal, I could go rejoin my family. But the problem was I couldn't rejoin my family. So I was in isolation up here in the guest bedroom. And there's not a lot to do up here. Like I have game systems and stuff like that, but like I could hear my wife managing the kids, and like it's like, oh, I want to go help. Oh, I want to go do that. So I was bored. So what did I do?
Yeah,
I streamed because I felt well enough to stream, but I was not well enough to rejoin my family. So it turned into, I wasn't sure how long I was going to stream for, but it turned into a 6-hour stream. I think it was the single longest stream I've ever done. I've done the THL Pride stream before, which was like 4 hours. And like the first one I did, I remember like dragging my butt to the end. Well, I guess we've been on for 6 hours for the theory crafting before. We've done that before.
Yeah.
So it must have been.
I did a 9-hour one recently.
Yeah. So we must have, I must have been on there, but I guess solo. That's the longest I've been on solo, right? Just like doing my thing. And it was really fun, but it was very.
I did a 9-hour one recently.
It was very funny because, like, you gotta remember,
blast. It was.
This is last weekend. We had new cards coming, So I'm sitting there and
Yeah.
I'm like, guys, this is actually like the least efficient thing I could possibly be doing as far as like content creation goes, because you just don't show old games and old material and old decks when new cards come out. Like, you just don't do it. People complain, people make a big deal out of it. Like, it's just annoying. So like, I have all this old footage that I'm just never gonna like. It's out there, but like I'm never crawling back through it. And like, you know, I got some clips out of it. But that was kind of it.
Nice.
So I was like, but it was a good time. It was a good stream. We did some viewer decks. We did some like, oh, I just want to play Astral Druid with Marin in it, and then that was a really funny video because like, you know, you can imagine the high rolls and the low rolls of Marin the Fox and what you get off of the rod. And half the time it was Yogg, and half the time Rog was just like, you know, throwing the game. So that was a lot of fun. and like off the back of that, kinda, because I really wanted to keep my momentum going. I feel really close to Twitch Partner. The you know, my live streams have felt like they've been, you know, I've been kind of like randomly hitting 100 sometime around like halfway through the stream. So then it's whether or not I'm like maintaining enough people to keep my average above 75. But whereas in some months where I've been chasing recently and thought I was close, but like came up like short, in some of those months I was like, I'd come close and it'd be like, oh, you're 5 out of 6 streams, and now, but you're 6 out of 6 streams for the other ones. So I was like always like 1 or 2 off, and I was close but not quite there. This one I feel like I've banked some streams. Like I've gotten a couple over the average of what I'm looking for, and so as older streams drop off and newer streams turn into last month's streams, I think when all is said and done, long story short, I'll have satisfied both check marks, and hopefully they'll accept me in, and then I'll have like the last like feather in the cap of sort of streaming goals that I kind of have, because like, you know, this is a hobby. Like we were doing taxes.
Yeah.
We were doing taxes, and I was looking at like, you know, well, you know, how much does streaming raise? And I literally, it's like a paycheck for my real job. It's not really. We don't do it. We're
Still
not
pretty
doing,
nice.
It's nice, but it's not like, oh man, look at me out here, you know, making life-changing money, streaming viewer decks in Wild Hearthstone. That's not really what's it. We do it for a hobby.
Right.
It's fun.
Yeah.
And so like, I don't expect to get any more serious.
When I streamed, like I bought my mic and I bought my fancy camera, and because that, you know, I got pretty decent money from it, you know, but like you said, not nearly enough to quit my day job, but enough to like buy some Legos and buy some, you know, like, oh yeah.
We're not getting
and it was fun.
any more serious than we already are. So this is like kind of like my last big like, oh man, like cool kind of milestone that I'm sort of looking forward to.
Yeah.
And then like, you know, we'll see where it goes from there. I might get bored and like start focusing more on like, oh, well, how can I improve the YouTube, or how can I do this? But I'm also trying to keep it as casual as possible, because if you do turn it into a job, then it becomes work, and now it's not fun anymore, and it's supposed to be a hobby. So that's been my week pretty much, is just like recovering from COVID and playing the new cards. New cards seem fun and wild, and they have some impact, and that's, you know, stuff we're going to end up talking about a little bit later. What's in the news, Sheep?
Welcome to the news. The news is so good.
And there was a new expansion.
No.
And so they did. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Right? So they did release like a news article that talked about, hey, there's an expansion and here's the rewards track, and they linked to the old article for the rewards track, and they talked about the mechanics that we've discussed at length. So we're not going to go in depth into their article, but the new expansion's out. We have new cards. And for our discussion topic, what are we doing with them in our format of Wild?
Oh, well, we have decks.
Yeah.
All right, nice. Okay. Where do we want to start? We want to start with Boogie Down CTA?
Yeah, I'm boogie down with that.
Okay, so the messy period between in the Franken meta where stuff was unnerfed for standard and it was reverted for us in wild, we started to do some experimentation with some of the older things that we've gotten reverted, and sort of one that snuck down that was not on anybody's radar was Boogie Down. Nobody was...
I explicitly said that I didn't think that reversion was going to be impactful, right?
I don't remember that, but I remember...
Oh, yeah, you weren't on that one. That was Hydra.
Oh,
yeah.
that was... I
explicitly said I didn't think that was going to be impactful. Like, I did not think it was going to make an impact.
Well, nobody was looking for it, right? Like, nobody was looking for it. And magically, this one actually looks like one of the reverts that looks like one of the more powerful and influential in the format. Boogie Down itself looks stronger than Call to Arms a little bit. So the version of the deck that we're featuring now has the Shatter card in it, which we thought was one of the better Shatter cards when we were reviewing the cards, right? Like we like Shatter as a mechanic, I think, and it's an understatement to say that we weren't, I don't know. Would you say skeptical, Sheep? Like skeptical of the Shatter cards?
I think so. Thinking that they were both overcosted and that both halves would need to be powerful enough to make it work. Flight maneuvers is one that we highlighted as maybe being worth.
Yeah, you could argue half of
I'm not surprised.
You could argue half of it was a better flash sale, and flash sale was already fringe in a lot of the decks that we were trying to play anyway, right? So like we could see it working. But yeah, Boogie Down looks like it looks very strong. We're falling back in love with Iron Deep Trog, especially into a lot of decks that want to play a lot of spells very quickly. Ooh. So we go very wide. We play our Crusader's Aura. We play our Shatter spell. One of the things that is looking very strong for the Shatter spells statistically is they're looking like very strong mulligan outliers. If there aren't a lot of cards in between the two halves, and the cards in general are ones that you're picking that are low costed, getting the Shatter spells to combine on curve seems like it's happening fairly regularly. You know, having functionally 4 copies of ways to make thin your deck and board flood, and then also follow up with a board buff, that's looking really strong. This deck was good enough to, I think, hit rank 1 a couple times. I think Hijo hit rank 1 with it. This is Zach's version that he sort of played around with. We've tried playing like stuff like Peasant and stuff in this deck, and the issue we come up with that is it's actually like provides a 1 health minion for the Defile to come through and clear out. So we're just going to go with stuff with bubbles. We tried New Nas in it. New Nas is a little bit slow, a little bit clunky. So this is the slimmed down, deadly version of Call to Arms. I don't know, it's working okay. I don't know how it's doing necessarily in the new meta. The new meta, it looks like there's a funny deck that's sort of circulating at the top meta for them to not get great testing in as far as like how strong this deck could be. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. So that is the first one. That's Boogie Down Call to Arms, featuring both reverted and new cards.
Yeah.
All right.
Moving on then to Treant Druid.
Treant Druid. All right. This list, I think today, hit rank 1 with Femboy Germa at the helm. I said I didn't like the new Shatter spell. I said that the Shatter spell wasn't going to work in Treant Druid. Turns out, if you keep it in the mulligan, it's actually kind of okay. Again, these spells are mulligan outliers, and Treant Druid has a lot of stuff that doesn't cost a whole lot that you can kind of move out of the way pretty quickly. Giving Treant Druid a way to back up its board and make it stickier. And not only that, but as you're removing pieces, also discount cultivation as it goes. That actually turns out to be pretty okay. What I think is interesting about this list is Germa's running no Mark of the Lotuses and cut a Witchwood Apple in order to make room for the new Shatter spell. I don't know what else they cut or what else they're including that I don't typically run, because I'm not sure right now. Maybe I'm on 1 Lotus, 1 Floop, which would make sense if you went minus Lotus, minus 1 Witchwood Apple. But yeah, no, spell seems good. Spell seems to work. And some combination of cards and Treant Druid right now is basically the straw that's stirring the drink in Upper Wild right now. Upper Wild is a lot very much of like, okay, I'm playing Treant Druid, I'm board flooding, I'm going to ram my board down your throat. And people have to try to come up with strategies that are functionally trying to beat Treant Druid and Nazmani Priest, and also to a lesser extent 777's Rogue, which I'm not featuring here tonight because, one, I don't think it's a real deck, but also I'm seeing a lot of people have really good results with it, so maybe it is a real deck. I don't know. Maybe they're just high rolling perpetually, but basically that, like, it's like, okay, we want to react to Nazmani, we want to react to Treant Druid. What kind of deck do we play if that's the case? Well, the other weirdness that's happening right now is one of my friends of mine in the game, Rice Bowl, got up to rank like 100 and was just like, okay, I'm top 100. Time to break out Cope Warrior. And just to TLDR, what Copium Warrior is it's basically Renathal and 29 board clears. That's an over-glamorized version of what it actually is. There's draw spells in here. There's a Boom Boss. There's a Ziliax. There's a Dr. Boom Mad Genius. You probably haven't seen one of those in a long time.
Glorious.
But the deck is basically designed to be like an old-style control deck. Let's just clear infinite boards, and let's just run you down, and eventually you're going to hit fatigue before we hit fatigue, and we go from there. We're running Dirty Rats, we're running Theatar, like I said. There's some disruption in here, too. It's not completely insane. This deck and decks like this are actually doing really well in the meta. He started as a joke, but now he's like, I don't know, he has like a 75% win rate. Because he's farming Treant Druid, 777's Rogue, and any other poor bastard that's trying to play some sort of board-based aggro. So, like, board-based aggro is very much, like, doing pretty well. And conversely, this disaster's doing pretty well, too. I tried it on stream. I went 3-3. It was all right? Like, I won some games I shouldn't have won. I beat National Communion Druid, literally taking them to fatigue. I beat a Raza Priest who seemed to not play the matchup properly. They kept pinging I'd get the hero power to make 3 little minions, and they'd ping off the 3 little 1/1s instead of sending the 6 damage face. I mean, I got lucky on disruption too. I dirty ratted their Aviana. I shut off their Raza for like 1 billion turns until they drew enough like TNTs where it was back online. Like, I got a little bit lucky, but at the same time, I'm like, try this at your own discretion. This is really the kind of deck that you would bring to THL, knowing your opponent always brings quad aggro. This is the kind of deck you would bring to the top of the ladder when you know specifically who's going to be logging on and what kind of decks they enjoy playing and what the meta looks like. Mm-hmm. If you're going to be playing this at rank 3 is going to be a very different experience than playing this at rank 300, which is going to be an even more different experience playing it at like 3000. Like, I think into a more varied field, you're going to end up queuing into bad matchups. I cannot stress how bait this list is, but
bait is tasty.
It is very good at what it wants to do. I will say that. It's very good at what it wants to do.
Bait is delicious.
And bait is delicious. So, like, do you want to take this deck and then sub in some actual win cons in here, or like a Kill Jaden or something like that? Yeah, I mean, I think that would probably raise the win rate of the deck. But that's not the spirit of Copium Warrior. He built it to be like this for a long time ago, to beat Beast Druids. I feel like I might have indirectly maybe even influenced this. because I beat Corb once on like a Control Warrior when I was trying to achievement hunt, and he was like, "Wait, what if this is the meta breaker?" And then he tried to build a Control Warrior, and then it didn't work out great because like he queued into a Mechathune, and then like the minute Corb builds a deck that's like an 80, like a 2080, has like a 2080 matchup someplace, he insta deletes it. So he's like, no, I'm never touching it again. I don't know if Rice Bowl got interested in that or what, but it was a hit very hard achievement for those playing at home. Ancient times. I was doing hit very hard in Fool's Bane to try and get as many targets as possible done with the hit very hard. It worked great. But yeah, this is fine. This is okay. Not even probably the most exciting developments in the meta, though, because we have new decks popping up as well that are old decks, but they've been updated. The one that we're starting with now, along that vein, is Il'gynoth DH, XL Il'gynoth DH. This set of 40 cards was first, built by KVLT, Mr. Quetzline DH himself. Some of the more awkward cards or card slots that we've been trying to complete in the past were Glavetar and Glide. With Broxigar's Last Stand, we don't need to do either. Another thing that the deck kind of struggled with is in the past against aggro, it wasn't the biggest deal that you had to basically sell out all of your removal sometimes in order to beat the opponent. But now you get 2 more removal spells, because even though Broxigar's Last Stand says 2 mana deal 1, if you put it down with a Moarg and it's already somebody's already gotten a discount off the quest line, now you're talking about like a 3 mana board clear or a 2 mana board clear that can deal 2 AoE, and oh, by the way, we're drawing cards after we blow stuff up. You could pair it with a Street Trickster, and now it's a 3 AoE that anything it blows up, it's drawing cards. And oh, by the way, we're running Patches the Pilot. So we're constantly making these little 1/1 tokens that, can also, once you blow them up, draw you cards. We also got our Ethereal Oracles back. Ethereal Oracles are amazing in the list. Because, again, they're adding that +1 spell damage. Same things that you're doing, but also it's drawing cards, right? So you're also drawing spells from the deck, and if the spells are the lifesteal spells that you usually want, if you time it right, you're now discounting those spells via the quest line fairly easily, because you know when you're completing the quest line and you can target where those discounts land. I found this list to be pretty clean. It can get a little clunky at times. Sometimes you have all the LSDH stuff and you have none of the brutes, and you can't get the brutes down. I think the deck list might need a Gaslight Gatekeeper just to like shuffle things up when things get like that. I in the past I've really liked Gatekeeper in a deck like this, just for that big fat thick discount that you can end up grabbing. And also, if you don't have your brutes in hand, odds are you will have your brutes in hand, and if your hand's 9 frickin' cards, you're probably finding the brutes and getting them down for free. Maybe even getting 2 or 3 brutes down for free and following up with a mana burn just because you've gotten a bunch of discounts across a ton of cards. This might not even be the best Questline DH deck that's going right now. There is a 1,600 sample size list out of China that's basically looking at making 1/1 tokens using the quest line. And then like using stuff like Cycle of Hatred and Broxigar's Last Stand to churn through your deck as fast as possible. We're playing the nerfed Revenants over Wallopers because we're not, playing enough Outcast cards to make the Wallopers cost 0. So we're basically just getting extra draw. It's running Arana as a finisher because it's that confident that it can eventually draw cards and get GGs. Filtrophobe has been trying it. Filtrophobe says he's losing. He says he's losing to like animations. He's losing to like decision making.
Wow.
But like once we refine it and once it's done, it's going to be nasty. So like stay tuned. Might not even be the best like DH deck right now. So that's very exciting as far as new things that we could be trying to play. And again, Broxigar's Last Stand, we knew it could be good, but we didn't have an actual home for it. Well, we're making homes, and it's going very well. That's impressive. Maybe not as impressive as our last deck, which you said you've been playing a fair amount of, and that is Odd Hunter.
I have been playing a fair amount of Odd Hunter. So my version is a little bit different from this one, which is A-okay. This is the more established list, so it's definitely the one worth highlighting. So Odd Hunter is back because of Confront the Tol'vir, the new 3-mana Hunter epic spell. Replay each 1-cost card you've played this game, targeting enemies if possible. So we run a ton of 1-cost spells, and a lot of them are direct damage. I mean, kind of one of the ways that I did it was essentially search deal and, highlight one, and then I included all of those that actually spells that actually
deal damage,
did the thing that I wanted them to do. Right? Like, which is all of these spells. I've got Fetch 2. The established list here runs Platosaur and Double Rust-Rot Viper. I've cut those because I really like the Oracle loop.
Okay.
But I mean, you draw 2 and then you replay with Confront the Tol'vir. I understand why it's being run that way. So I just wanted to run mine a slightly different way.
I think it's fair.
Right. One of the really fun things, I think it was before we were recording, that you mentioned objection, and objection being a card that just like auto wins, right? There was one game against a hostage mage that I was playing where, I had identified the secrets, plural, as objection, and the other one, ice block, the two that they run. And so I thought I was being all clever in like playing Confront the Tol'vir to essentially play the quest again so that I could just get it all going. But I, of course, run double flare. And so I just won the video game instead of like starting to go through an entire other quest. And, that worked out well, too. So, I also could have confronted the Tol'vir and into playing the...
You have to get lucky on
brand or whatever.
You have to get lucky on order, like a little bit, right? You have to be like a little bit. If you end up popping their block too soon, then the flares wouldn't have done anything, which would be a little bit spooky.
But it would have cleared the objection.
Oh, got you. Okay, right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah.
So I still would have been able to play the questline reward. But
either way, you're going to win. I'm not saying you weren't. I'm just saying I thought it was like it's funny that it worked out in that sequence the way you wanted.
And there are a number of times that I wasn't even close to like getting lethal, like I didn't think. But I had an Ethereal Oracle on board. I think I had 2.
Oh, well, I'll do her. That'll do her.
that were there, and I was just like, okay, well, I'm going to play the Confront the Tol'vir so that I can play my quest reward and or I can get a second one started so I could play both, blah blah blah. Completely unnecessary because the +2 spell damage just kind of did the thing. But yeah, deck is very, very fun. I don't think it's oppressive by any stretch of the imagination, but we're seeing a lot of it right now because it's kind of like the Il'gynoth Demon Hunter. It's an old deck that is suddenly viable again, right? And viable doesn't mean best deck in the format, but honestly, the Odd Hunter is a little bit more accessible to a lot of people than the XL LGDH. For one, I hadn't seen this list yet, so I'm going to play a little bit of this because I love me some LGDH. It's going to take a few reps to get back into it, but like it's fun. So I can't wait to do that. But Confront the Tol'vir, just replaying all of your one cost spells. You run all the ones that do damage, and you run 2 of them, and you're happy with your life because that's what you want to be doing, is playing cheap spells that deal damage to complete your quest and clear the board and then go face whenever you're able to like turn the corner. So it just seems like a match made in heaven, and it's really fun. It's definitely that kind of burn deck style. So I've been running into a lot of aggro, hence the keep the board, relatively clear aspect. But of course, since it is a burn deck, if you're running into control or anything that like gains armor, just ship everything face. So that's just kind of like the macro game plan, and how that can kind of differ. Because you're not worried about your own health. You just want to get theirs down to 0. So very, very fun. I'm so glad to have that back. And yeah, what do you think, Schmoops?
I think Confront the Tol'vir is so strong that it's pushing several different builds of Hunter. It's pushing Odd Hunter. It's pushing the Odd Questline Hunter that we have displayed here. It's pushing Beast Hunter a fair amount as well.
Yeah, run into a lot of that. Hence keeping their board clear.
Just in general, it's just sort of an insane card that does so much that it's putting us in some interesting positions. For the Questline Hunter, it's funny. I'm not convinced of many things right now. I'm not convinced that the Questline is worth. I'm not convinced that staying odd is worth. I'm not convinced that the best option isn't just some sort of face or beast like style of running this deck. One of the craziest things that you can do is play Awakening Tremors and then play out the little 4/1, 1 mana 4/1 Jormungers, because even in my opinion, even I would even try it in Questline. Just because off of Tol'vir, it's like, oh, let me print like let me print 24 power and fill your hand with 6 cards, so that if they clear that board, you have another board coming right behind it, and also dealing face damage. And also thanks to cards like Tracking and Fetch and Flare, drawing cards. Like it's Shutterwalk but 3 mana. It's a little baffling that they have printed it in this way, but I have a sneaking suspicion it's not going to stay this much mana. So it's going to be interesting to see how we end up building these things. This list in particular, even Ethereal Oracle does not look the greatest statistically, and some people think that maybe it's a drop from this build entirely, so that Fetch is always getting a beast. But if we go that route, are we really looking to like build around Fetch? Is Fetch really the nuts that we want to have repeated over and over and over again, so that we can go get our Rustrot Viper just to spend mana trading it back into the deck? Like, it's just there's a lot of weirdness going on as far as like picking the most optimal Hunter build. And it's also probably the most interesting thing that we have going right now in Wild, is just like how do we use Tol'vir the best we possibly can. Because I was playing Beast Hunter and I played like 2 Timberwolves, then played Tol'vir, and I got 2 more Timberwolves and a bunch of stuff that they could buff and that could attack next turn. So like that was like one of those turns was like, oh yeah, this is kind of just kind of gross, isn't it? I can't say that the meta's changed. It's always tough early days making calls on like what's changed about the meta, because I haven't felt like there are any really good decks that were really good before that are really bad now. I don't feel like that's a thing that's really happening. I think it's mostly been a change by addition, like the just new cards bringing new decks a little bit further forwards, And while, yes, there is a meta, and yes, I think it probably starts with Treant Druid and Nazmani Priest. Nazmani Priest not really even seeing a whole lot of play. They did get Mend, which might be a card that they end up using. But just in general, just it has a low population, even though people hate losing to it. Treant Druid is getting much more popular, and you're starting to see it much more, and has a very high win rate. Those decks kind of setting the table for things, and things kind of filtering out from there. That's definitely a change in where we have been. We haven't had like an aggro deck as like the best deck in a long time, and without getting too bogged down on labels, like as far as what is Treant Druid really. Mostly been addition. Mostly been like, hey, try Odd Hunter. Yeah. Hey, try Boogie Down and Call to Arms. Hey, try Questline DH with new tools to cycle through an Ethereal Oracle. Not featured here tonight is Ethereal Oracle and Reincarnates found their way into Purse's XL Frog Shaman list. That also looks... I went like, 3-0 the other day when I tried that out for the first time. That was really cool. And what's really cool about that is, let's say you do your Flash of Lightning into your Frog turn, and you top deck and Reincarnate, you can target your Frog. It will still draw the spell, and also, if your Frog was unstealthed, now it's stealthed again. So, like, you can do some, like, really silly stuff with the Reincarnates, not just...
That's fun.
Yeah, and you're drawing the card, right? Like, you didn't break the chain like I was worried like it would. And so not only can you use the Ethereal Oracle Reincarnate trick, I don't know if you remember that one. So you'd like... Flash of Lightning, Ethereal Oracle. Yeah, play the thing, get your spellverse value, probably draw 1 mana cards, reincarnate the Ethereal Oracle, get the spellburst back, play your 1 mana cards that are currently 0 mana because of Flash of Lightning, draws more cards. Just, it was a very funny little miracle engine that I thought I was so stoked to get it back. That looks like a thing that we can do now with some of the reverted cards. I'd say before the new cards hit, people were kind of quietly doing really, really, really well with a duplicate like Zerg Jormungandr Hunter. That was kind of like a really good deck that we had before the StarCraft stuff got nerfed. People were trying that all of a sudden, and that looked pretty good. People were doing pretty well with that. Yeah, climbing with that.
I had a lot of fun playing with that one. Yeah,
that's
I love that
solid deck, and so like that might still be a deck, but it doesn't run necessarily Confront the Tol'vir, so nobody's playing it right now in Hunter. But that still might like win some games and do pretty well. There's been a lot of addition, I'd say, and not as much subtraction of like, okay, here's a new card that comes out that narrows down our options about what we can play. It's been more about like, here's a new thing that we're doing. Here's a new thing that we're doing. I haven't played nearly as much Standard as I need to, but I think it's worth noting, it's worth talking a little bit about like what is happening in Standard in broad terms from your perspective, and what might get changed and thus, hit Wild, on the side. Because I hear people say like, hey, is Hunter doing anything in Wild? Can we keep Confront the Tol'vir, or are they going to have to touch it because of Standard? Hey, how is, I forget what the Treant spell is called. The 3 mana Treant spell, the Shatter one.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, how is that an Imbue Druid?
Wildwood Circle.
Wildwood Circle. It's like, hey.
And yeah, Wildwood Circle is more in Token Druid than Imbue Druid. Okay. So, Token Druid is less popular and less oppressive. Okay. I think is a good way to phrase it. So I'm hoping that Wildwood Circle won't get hit. The 1 mana like cub thing that whenever you spend all your mana, then it gets +2/+2. That one is sometimes in Imbue, sometimes just in token. So kind of hit and miss. I would be very surprised if like the Humul like Imbue mechanic is not nerfed in some way. Like right now it's every 2. It'd be a pretty big hit. But
man, if you did every 3, I think you'd pretty much kill it.
And I think that's probably like just thinking about the deck, like that I think is kind of the only way to really like hit it. It's just that you get a bigger and bigger green man and you get them so quickly.
What if you
and
did?
It's like that plus the chameleon loop thing that people were playing before. Mir Drasil's still in there. It's still great, but like it's the bigger and bigger man phenomenon.
What if after the first 2 spells it's +1/+1, the second 2 spells is just +1 health, and then they alternate? That would be obnoxious to code, I imagine. But would that be would that be a more would that be worth considering as a balance option versus just like nuking it? You know what I mean?
Right. Well, and potentially like it could be some of the other kind of cards around it as well, like some of the imbue things, but maybe Hamul, I don't know.
Hamul to 6 mana
is a 9 mana 7/8. Like
right.
They make him Baku, right? There's no telling, but something in that like imbue druid kind of loop is definitely one that I can see getting hit. Hunter is popular. It's what they call no hand hunter because it's all about dumping your hand and playing the 1 mana 1/3 that if you have 3 or fewer cards in your hand, then your hero power is free, and so it's obviously a very aggressive deck.
Right.
So that's another big one. Herald Shaman is relatively popular. There is a like Treant Druid, which yes runs the circle, but also runs the like get a couple of treants, and for however many treants have died, like
bring him back,
get,
or not bring him back, but buff them.
You get additional buffs, so that's kind of like an archetype-ish Dragon Warrior. I've seen a lot more without Herald than I've seen with Herald.
Sure.
I've been running the one with the Heralds whenever I've been playing. That, like I said, that's what I've been maining, and I had not played much Standard this season before the expansion. I think I was like Silver, maybe Gold. Like I just hadn't played much, right? And I'm already D5 on a 10x climb. So like, I'm doing pretty well with it, even though apparently the Herald Warrior stats, it's like globally a 44.8.
Oh, really? Yikes.
Yeah. Which is, wow. No minion Demon Hunter.
Okay.
I've run into a decent amount of that. Which is essentially like a Brock's Demon Hunter too, right? Like, because you can run Broxigar, and because Broxigar is not in your deck.
I heard in like the in the Franken meta, it was like a sea of cliff dive DH for a lot of people.
Oh yeah,
it's just like, well, here's the most broken Braden Dead thing we could possibly do, so let's just spam it. I'm sure the new cards were very well received to end that meta. That was not a happy meta.
Yeah, I didn't play much of the Franken meta this time. I did play a little bit. Like I said, I think I was like Silver, maybe Gold, something like that. Sure. But I ran into at least one.
It's gonna say more than two with
that very short climb.
but it's not more than two.
Probably. I mean, it might be. It might have been. You don't climb if you don't win, and I've slept since then and have been more excited about these things, so I don't remember. Yeah, the Standard meta seems, aside from like the druids like up at the top, I think that the standard meta is really fun.
Okay.
Like I said, I've been playing my Herald Dragon Warrior because the 4-mana dragon that summons one of the soldiers with Rush. It's a dragon. Ultraxian's a dragon, and so then I just run.
She's got a lot of side dragons already going on. Might as well finish the whole package.
Yeah, so
nice.
It's really just kind of like cutting some of the different things from Dragon Warrior and to have it. I now have the fancy Ragnaros. So like while I was eating dinner, I was slinging some cards on mobile, and thank you again, Blizzard, for the Deathwing and Ragnaros and that whole thing, right? But like, man, it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think the Colossals all look like big Timmy fun shows. I don't know. I've been enjoying the Baby Arena a bit. Off stream, playing the new cards, especially now earning the new cards, and that meta doesn't like. You could tell there are some classes that are better than others. Like Paladin feels much stronger than some of the other classes. If you can high roll, like triple blood DK with all the Herald stuff, and you get like you get Onyxia herself, it can get a little really. Especially with how many times you can draft duplicates. Duplicate heralds over and over again are just like very fun. Rogue's doing well, I think.
So in the announcement for it, they mentioned that like duplicates for the herald mechanic were going to be limited to 2. Did that not make it into the actual game?
I think you get like you get the forms you're expecting, but it's so much value, especially with DK, because you're basically printing tempo, right? Like you're dropping the Herald minions, and then DK, the minions that you're producing, again, cost health, and you're just immediately slamming them down on the board. And if you're drafted if you've drafted triple blood, you have access to enough lifesteal that you're usually getting that health back. You got leeches still in that pool. Like there's ways for you to get the health back. The little guitar that ramps up as you change your health, that gets very silly. Like there's some fun stuff you can do on that end too. I've been enjoying the arena a little bit. The strongest thing you can do though is Druid, draft dragons, go wide, drum circle, or arbor up. The 2 of them, both of them are legal right now. So drafting multiple copies of either is also equally illegal. And since they're like dragons, it's like it's not easy bodies to remove, right? Like especially if they're going wide from jump. So that's I think the best thing you can probably do. But I've had the most success. Like I've had more success doing like. Shaman and doing basically Meteor Shaman and just clearing boards 45 times in a row until my opponent finally gets pinged to death by little space rocks. Or something like drafting 1,000,000 Heralds in Rogue or 1,000,000 Heralds in DK and just sort of like blowing your opponent out with value. Because like the Rogue one it's not as good as Imbue. Imbue was much better. But this is kind of close. Like, it's random, but there is some mana cheat. It's not as good, but it's close. That's been interesting, too.
Excellent. Yeah, I can't wait to dive back into the arena. I haven't been over in EU yet because I've been playing, a lot of standard and wild and in a place where I have a bigger collection. So whenever I do dive back over into the other old... not account, but server, then, I definitely will be doing some arena runs. I'm very excited. Gosh, Herald Druid sounds like a blast. Or not Herald, Dragon Druid.
Dragon Druid, yeah.
Sounds like a blast. Yeah. There is no Herald for Druid. Herald DK also sounds like a blast.
It is a blast.
If you can line it up for especially the triple blood.
I have to try and cook it. I have to try and cook
it
it a little bit on stream next week. I want to do like dupes. I think I want to do blood, unholy. Unsure. Little bit of a Zerg package, so I get to play with the Zergs again. Unsure of how much I want to dip my toe in the old 8 Hands Beyond stuff. 8 Hands Beyond early, deleting both players' decks. You are likely to get Kerrigan printing Vipers reducing the opponent's hand resources. All of a sudden you win the game because you've ratted the right things at the right times and removed them because you're blood. Unsure how much I want to lean into that or how much of that is cope and how much instead I shouldn't just like go full on Herald and gaining corpses and doing something with the corpses that way. Unsure how I want to go about doing that.
Lot of options and just see what the arena provides. I don't really, do a whole lot of the underground because just
not made of money.
The cost on on a free to play adjacent account is tricky, right?
Yeah.
Like so yeah, I spend the 150 and oh my gosh, the ROI on that is just so good. Like almost always getting 2 packs, if not like a pack in an epic, is just incredible. We can recommend people to go to the arena for collection growing.
I would do that. Yes, I would do that.
In good faith.
Yes, indeed.
Mm-hmm. Are there any other decks that you are excited to maybe cook up or kind of any other meta developments that you kind of would like to see before we have some unrelated advice?
I know, well, last half of stream, my last stream, I cooked like a Dragon Druid, XL Dragon Druid that's basically looking to finish with the Beatles because that has been a deck that has looked pretty good in stats, but had some really weird builds kind of spread out across like nobody really agreeing upon what they want to run. And so I wanted to just sort of try to make it myself on stream. Dragons and Wilds have a lot of options for, hey, let's refresh your mana after if you're holding a dragon or if you're holding a dragon, do a thing. Right. And so I built it around that kind of idea of like I can go Nest Matron, Floop Nest Matron, play the new 3 mana 4/3 dragon that refreshes 2 mana crystals if you're holding a dragon. Play a Spike Lash Whelp behind that so that you gain a mana crystal with the last 2 mana crystals and you make a body. And like the entire time just like making bodies, right? Like just having tempo happen. Worked out pretty well. Fi got cheap pretty easily, which was nice. Kazaku-san got online pretty quickly. That was nice. Again, he's play, not summon, but still... Right. Like there's so many dragons that you can just sort of blah, 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 and then you've satisfied the condition and then you can just go to Kaz World, and Kaz World can still get you there pretty well. These skulls still have some pretty filthy treasures in there, so that was fun to make and play. Next week I'm not sure. Next week I think I want to like check and see how this new 30 card low to the ground token DH works out. It seems like the kind of thing that's like probably pretty nutty, probably looks pretty good. Interested to see how Odd Hunter or just Hunter or however we want to like, play Confront the Tol'vir, watching how that's going to play out. That's going to be interesting. Because I think there's a lot of interesting deck building decisions there. Yeah.
One branch that I've considered exploring with that is like Renathal and then just like straight up burn. Like, you know how I was talking about, the aggro deck, like playing around those things some more. Like, I don't know if that one would be Baku. Like
NHL,
but everything would definitely be going phase.
NHL showed me an XL questline list today that had Acid Maw and not 1 Viper, but 2 Vipers, but also 2 of like the tradable Tarantulas that are 5 mana. because of just what if we just build all in around fetch, and it's like, oh my god, yes, you could do that. Should you do that? Who knows? But maybe that's the best way to do it. But like, you know, something like Acid Maw when you're running Wound Prey and other things, like that's kind of cute. Tradable animals.
I like the Acid Maw.
Yeah, the tradable animals is an interesting take. But yeah, no, like I think there is something to what you're saying, but also like, yeah, people are already like trying that. Haven't done Elemental Shaman yet. Elemental Shaman could be cool. I haven't hit Legend on EU yet. Probably going to be using the Nutrient Druid deck for that. Anything I want to cook? Maybe I want to cook a little bit of Rag Warrior, maybe a Herald Warrior of some kind. I don't know if I want to make it a control deck or if I want to try and. I've had chatters try to make a tempo version of it that I haven't been 1,000% happy with, and they haven't been happy with me in turn. So like we could try. I think I want to go more control than. More of a control list than an aggro list, and also drop a N'Zoth. That could be fun. That could be fun.
Oh, yeah. If you're dropping N'Zoth, then I love running Plated Beetle and like a kind of like rag package. I did that in like the Theory Crafting. I don't know if Plated Beetle is in standard, but also like, you know, we have to run more refined things now if we want to climb. Yawn. But if we're doing kind of death rattle like things, it's one of those things that's early tempo, like you can use it to trade off. Of course, you gain your armor, which lets you stay in the game longer. Yeah. So it's one of those kind of inclusions that if again, not for like a particularly competitive deck, but it's one of those things that is kind of like a inclusion in a spicy deck that helps you get to your late game things to do the funny. But I don't know that I'd run it with N'Zoth because you don't really want to bring that back when what you really want to bring back is damage with the Soldiers of Ragnaros.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I was imagining a board full of Soldiers of Ragnaros, and it's like, okay, yeah, it's true. None of this has Rush and none of this has Taunt, but hear me out. If you have if you have a 0 mana Shatter, you can get rid of basically anything that has 5 health or less on either side of the board, which means N'Zoth could technically be an OTK. Well, I shouldn't say OTK. It's on no TK. It's not an OTK. It's a good finisher, so you could do a nice finishing play that way.
Right.
Like I don't know. I think there's going to be fun little things like this with this expansion. The card power level seems appropriate. There's ingredients to cook with. Are we going to make tier 1 decks? Probably not. If we make an ocean of
we're
tier
going to make tier fun decks.
Yeah, if we can make an ocean of tier 3.5 decks, I think that's a win.
Wiser words have never been spoken.
No, you're not getting out of this one.
Unrelated Advice with Electric Sheep City.
Hi.
Sheep.
Hi, Schmoopy.
Today, I had a superintendent's conference day. And on a superintendent's conference day, it's like a PD day. Like you go to different classes that are classes for teachers, run by teachers, sometimes administrators, and they talk about a new tool or a mindset or a skill, or sometimes it's like a de-stress activity like meditation or something. But it's just largely just like these little classes. And you know, so I usually try to go to these things and try to get something out of them, even if it's not my cup of tea. I usually think I can turn something into a learning experience, into a worthwhile use of my time. I'm convinced, though, you don't necessarily need to be a teacher to design one of these courses. So, Sheep, you've been shanghaied by my superintendent into making a class for one of these PD sessions. It's going to be about an hour and 15 minutes. I'm going to need for you to quickly on the fly design that class for me. And what topic do you want to present your PD on?
So is the PD about teaching you skills, or is it about like is it like a skill building conference, or is it like here's what I've learned, like more like scientific
Believe it or not,
presentations?
the answer is
Like-
yes. It can be whatever you want it to be, because I've been some places where it's like,
Excellent.
hey, let's work at honing this skill. I've been in some PDs where it's been like, hey, here's this interesting information on like, you know, psychological development. Like we went through God. You know, I took a class once on like, are there really, you know, personality types? Is like, does left-handedness and right-handedness really matter with creativity? Some scientific evidence would say no. Some scientific evidence would say yes. Well, like common. I think this particular PD was just like, here's the scientific evidence that says no. It doesn't have any influence whatsoever on what side of the brain you're using, because like that whole like, well, we only use 12% of our brains. Well, that's kind of at a time. We end up using everything at some point, just like not all at once, because if you did, that's not a good thing. You're seeing out of your
Right.
you're seeing out of your nose. You're tasting colors. Like that's not the kind of thing that you want to have happen. That's illusory. So it can be anything you want. It can be informational or it can be skill building.
Okay. So gamifying learning. I would talk about how some study strategies for students that the teachers can recommend for students, and maybe incorporate into some lesson plans. I don't know. I'd have to do research for that particular part of it, right? I haven't done that.
No, you don't. Keep going. You're doing great.
I'm not an LLM. I'm not just gonna like say that it's this way if I haven't done it.
No, go for it.
But you know, but I know about gamifying learning and how you know, if your flashcards are so boring to some people, but for some people they like that is the game, right? It's like a memory game. So different people respond to different kinds of games, and how you can kind of sneak learning into that. Like Hearthstone does a great job of that with like the herald mechanic, for example. Like people now know what the word herald means. Like that someone is a herald if they're like announcing someone's coming, and they're heralding the come of a Ragnaros in the deck that I was talking about, right? So just so many potential ways to gamify learning. That's what I'd give my PD on.
Wiser words have never been spoken, and you heard that on
More to be wild.
Yeah.
Okay, couple things though. No one's reading the cards. Okay, no one's reading the cards.
And if they did, they would think that it was spelled HAROLD.
Right.
Anyway.
Like they don't know what the definition of the actual character is, and they're not reading the card. They haven't learned the mechanic. They're guessing at this point, using educated guesses about what their card is going to do when they throw it on the floor, depending on what class they are. Like it's just, you know, it's